Hello and welcome back. I'm very excited to show you. We have a new Ashen deck. We've got some new cards. Came out in the new Beat the Boss Rush pack. Slightly new a couple weeks ago, but busy. YCS Pittsburgh, all that. We have Chaotic Elements, which is a UR for some reason. It came out in Alliance Insight as a common. It's a UR here for no reason. And we have Inferno of the Ashen, which is a common in Duel Advance. And it's rare here, which makes sense. These cards add a lot to the deck. They are very useful. They're kind of extenders, and they're board breakers as well. They're extra copies of the field spell Inferno is that play around Duel, and Chaotic Elements is an extra copy of Vados that does not play around Duel. Sort of. You can add back from the graveyard, which does play around Duel. But yeah, these cards are extraordinary. They help break boards. They help take apart your opponent's board while also expanding on your combo or starting your combo. It's very good. So starting off, we have 3 Ash Blossom, stop Molcharmy, stop Maxi, stop all that. And it's a nice hand drop to have for Obsidian. And it's also a fire for Promethean Princess. Hopefully that doesn't come up, but it is available. We have 3 Priestess, basically the most important card in the deck. She searches for any Ashen card. She basically searches for the entire deck. Technically, Vados and Awakening Vados aren't Ashen cards. There is no way to search Awakening of Vados yet. But we can search Vados with Extinguishing the Ashen. And Extinguishing also plays around Droll, which is very nice. So you can summon Priestess, search for Extinguishing. If you already have the field spell, then you just grab the Vados and you just go on for your combo. And if they draw you, you can still get the bare bones skeleton of the build of the end board. So that's really neat. We have 1 Shaman. It's a searchable level 4 Pyro. It also can recur our stuff and search for Obsidian, which is very cool, which is very neat. It comes up every now and then in like the grind games and stuff like that. She's not a bad follow-up play too. Drawing into her, searching her, keeping her in your hand for later. She very much does come up. Having an extra Obsidian and getting the draws rolling and getting some recursion back in the deck is really cool. She's also, her and Priestess are also 4s, which are very good for Banshee. And speaking of 4s, we have 3 copies of Perulia. I absolutely love Perulia in this deck. If you lose the coin flip, you go second. Hopefully you have Perulia, and it's very good. It can get you a draw of 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. And it is a level 4. So if you go first and you see it, then if you most times you can do your combo without even normal summoning. So you can do your combo and then you end on, and you have the Priestess, the King, and the Vados on your opponent's field, and the continuous trap set. You can normal summon the Perulia, and then overlay for Banshee, and then get your Emperor and get the extended part of the combo going, which is really neat, which is really cool. I absolutely love that. It has more than one use, and it's also an Aqua, which comes up for our Chaotic Elements. So, and it's easy to have engrave, even if you go first. I mean, even if you draw an extra one, you can just activate it in the beginning of your turn. If they Bestial or Nibiru you, or things of that nature, then if they hand trap you and summon on your turn, and you've Perulia'd it already before you started your combo, then you get a draw or two. You know, they might mess with your board or break your board, but you do get to draw and hopefully draw some counterplay, which is very neat. I very much love Perulia in this deck. We have 1 Emperor. Emperor is like the absolute killer in the grind game. He's coming back every turn. He's burning every time our opponent special summons. He's burning every time he's summoned. 500 for every Pyro. He's 3100. He's level 8. There's so many. Like he he rounds out the deck in like so many ways. He summons from the hand or grave, so you can fuse him away and then from the hand or field, and then summon him back. You can only summon him once per turn, but if he lives through your opponent's turn, you can like link him off or whatever, and then bring him back. He's an 8, which is great for Grunik's Eternity. You can detach him and then pop something and then bring him back. Like he's just absolutely phenomenal. He's very well rounded in the deck. He's very good. If we lose Banshee, we basically lose him, and it's like that's a tough thing to lose, because he just he finishes games on his own, basically. I mean, technically not on his own because you need 3 pyros to banish, but he just enables so much. He brings back Banshee with him every time too, and they can just go into Promethean Princess lines and link plays. It's very, very neat stuff. Alright, next up we have King of the Ashened City. King is like, you never really want to see it. It unfortunately is pretty crucial to the combo, because he summons an Ashen from the hand, but if our opponent has a monster with 28 or more attack, it summons from the deck. And you give them Vados, so you destroy Obsidian and you summon Vados to your opponent's field. You summon King from the deck with Obsidian, and you summon Priestess out, whatever you need to keep things going. He's just an extra body on the field. He's basically like a second Obsidian, you know, because Obsidian summons from the deck and then he'll summon from the deck. It's cool going second sometimes, because your opponent has like a field. They probably have a boss monster that's 20. That's like more than, you know, it's like 3,000 is usually like a boss monster around for attack points. So you can summon a priestess from the deck and, you know, get some bodies on the field, get things going. It's kind of cool going second, but if you if they have too much negates and like things like that, it gets a little awkward. So he's only at 1. What is also cool about him is that he's level 8 for our Garunix. So, you know, he has some cool applications. He's unfortunately just not like good enough. If he did like just slightly more, like if he had him like 2 out from the deck or something, he might be like a lot cooler. Unfortunately, he's just like, he just doesn't do enough, and he's a little bricky because he's a level 8. Next up, we have 3 Vados, the main man of the deck, the main sort of boss monster. It's weird to call him a boss monster because he spends much more time on your opponent's field than anywhere else. So it's like a boss monster that we have to fight, that we give them. So during the main phase, quick effect, target a card in the field zone, special summon Vados, and if you do, destroy it, that card you targeted. And if you do destroy it, add or set an Ashen continuous trap. So not only is he, you know, part of our combo for Obsidian, he's also a hand trap if our opponent's playing a field spell deck, which there's always going to be some kind of relevant field spell. So there's like the Castira field spell. You always run into Castira at some point on Master Duel. They have a field spell. Ryzeal, very, very, very popular deck right now, has a field spell that's part of its the disruption, part of its combo. You can get rid of that and get things going a little bit, which is really cool. And Malice also has a field spell. One of the things that makes Malice hard to play, hard to hand trap, is that other than Lancia, there's not really much you can do for the field spell and for the gold sarcophagus, which like gets their combo started. We still can't do anything about gold sarc because there's no Lancia, but we can hit the field spell, and that is like a huge thing. Like if they normal summon Jessie Cat and you Ash it, and then they activate the field spell and you Vados it, sometimes they just end their turn. Like they just don't have anything to go from there. Like there's just not much. They don't have enough of anything. So Vados is very handy for the field spell matchups, and it's not the most difficult thing to get an extra Vados in hand. So he's very, very cool, very, very unique in that aspect. It gives this deck a big leg up on field spell decks, because turn 0 you can pop with and Orchis. Orchis is another really big one. They absolutely need their field spell, so you can pop the field spell, summon it. You can set Eternity, because if they link all Vados, you can just add it back next turn. I always set Endlessness, because they see that it's a fusion, and they go, oh shit. They get a little scared, and they like link it off and try and like get rid of it, like pop it or Little Knight it away. Which is like fine, it doesn't matter. So, but like you get like very good disruption basically for free, and you make them make some pivot into some weird plays, and and if they do leave the fusion up, like if you just activate Obsidian and they have all leveled monsters in their field, like you just like all special summon leveled monsters, they'll become pyros, and you just fuse them all away, and it's Some decks just don't have a reaction to that. They just don't really have like the proper like response to that. Or some people don't even know. They don't even know what's about to come. They don't even know what's about to happen. So yeah, it's very, very, very extraordinarily good, and he just gets better. Like Yummy's gonna come out, and that's a field spell deck, and that's gonna be like, you know, whenever that does come to Master Duel, that's gonna be another very good matchup for this deck. So next we have 2 Triple Tactics Talents. Now this is a slight difference I had to make for this current build, because when I made this deck and when I got the replays, Called By was at 2, and then the list came out. So I replaced 1 tactic, and I cut the Called By, of course, for 2 thrusts, because, you know, 3 tactics and 1 thrust seems a little funny. So yeah, I cut one of these for 1 thrust and dropped the Called By for another thrust. It's not like a major difference. It's just like some strong non-engine to see in case we get hand trapped. It's basically the same thing. So tactics, you know, you already know what talents does. Thrust is really cool in this deck because if you don't have anything, you can set Impulse. Impulse is a very strong card. And if, let's say they're like Ghost Belt, Chaotic Elements or something, you can do your combo and then thrust. And because your opponent has Vados, you can add any spell trap, any normal spell trap. You can add Bonfire, you can add Extinguishing, add Chaotic Elements. You can add Impulse just so you have it in hand, so that's safer than set on the field. So that's really cool. You can basically get like a second copy of Vados, or you can like put Extinguishing in grave for whatever other plays. In TC, obviously, you know, talents to draw 2 or rip. In TCG, Thrust is just slightly better because we have Terraforming. But other than that, it's a pretty solid card. 1 Bonfire to search our Priestess. 2 Extinguishing to search for our Vados. And this also lets you fuse, which is pretty important, from your hand or field into a Pyro. So you can fuse into Embers using Emperor and Banshee. Those are always the best targets for that, because he's generic, just any 2 Pyros. And when you fuse into them, you send these 2 to graveyard, and then you have materials for Emperor to banish and come back, because he recurs from grave, and then Banshee recurs from banish. So it's basically like free materials. And sometimes you fuse into the big Vados. Doesn't really happen that often, and it's very like, unless one of the materials is Volcanic Emperor, it's very like super neg. So you don't really want to do that. And occasionally you go into Blaze Phoenix because you have a couple of machines. You have Zeus and Ambler Whale, so you can go into Blaze Phoenix, burn for game. You can also recur Blaze Phoenix with Promethean Princess, so an extra case of burning along with the Emperor. So you get quite a little bit of burn. It's pretty neat. Next we have Chaotic Elements. This is the new card, one of the new cards, and it's a doozy. So you can add a 5 or higher light or dark, pyro or aqua. So basically Vados and King, though, you know, it's always going to be Vados. Then if you have 3 or more pyro and or aqua monsters in your graveyard, you can destroy 1 card on the field. So on Resolution, you get to pop 1 if you have multiples in grave, multiple of the aquas and pyros in grave, which, like, 1 fusion summon, you have 3 in grave. So what's really cool about this card is that going first, it gets you Vados. Going second, it might get you a pop, but like your like turn 3 plays are like insane. Like, you're popping a card non-target, destroying whatever's like part of their board, which is really neat. And it has another effect, which is if your opponent controls a light or dark, pyro or aqua, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 monster your opponent controls, take control into the end phase. So you give them Vados, and you can basically target anything they control and take it. If they have Detonator on the field, You target anything and then take it. If they have, let's say, a random light or dark monster that's not pyro, you can activate opposite them, and if it's special summoned, it becomes pyro, and you can take that, or it makes this live, so you can take other things. This second effect is very easy to trigger in this deck, and it helps break apart boards. Like you can pop something, you can add and then pop and then take control of something. Like there's so much value in this card if you have the setup for it, and even if you don't, it's still doing a good amount for you. So I really like this card, and it's got like a cool artwork. I don't know what's really going on here. I don't know who Blood is. I think it's like a Destinus something. I don't know, but it looks really neat. It looks really cool. Next we have our 3 field spell. You know, it's our home. It's opposite them. That's you use the homeward bones is where you end up. Your opponent's special summon monsters become pyro, and if this is destroyed or banished from the field zone, summon an Ashened from the deck. During the end phase, recur opposite them, bottom deck it, draw a card. That end phase draw is pretty important. Like if you draw a hand trap, like our Impulse or our Ash, it's pretty damn good. If you see some non-engine for next turn, it's really nice. Like Thrust, Talons, Elements. Elements is really good, like on the follow-up turn. Bonfire. You know, there's a couple of like good things you can draw. Sometimes you can draw Called By in the end phase, and they have some random like end phase effects, like they activate like a chandelier or something like that. You know, one of the labyrinth cards. So that's really cool. But yeah, you know, it's pretty damn important. You know, you try to keep it up as much as possible. Not keep it up. You try to get as many as much as possible, because they're always leaving as well. And then we have Inferno of the Ashen, the next new card. So when this card is activated, you can place an obsidian to either player's field, which is like sick. Like you can just start with this card, and if they don't read it, if they don't comprehend what's going on, then like it resolves. You put it on their field. Imperm's dead until later. Molcharmies are completely dead, like forever, basically. Like it just like it turns off these like random effects if they're not like prepared for it, which most people aren't. And it doesn't even like play into Duel or anything. It's just so good. And it's continuous, but it being continuous isn't like that crazy, because it actually has a pretty nice on-field effect. But if anything, you can send it away for the Fusion Vados, Endless Darkness, to pop something. But you don't really want to do that. Like you want to try not to do that, because its on-field effect is actually quite good. You can target one face-up card your opponent controls, any card, and one level 8 or higher Dark Pyro monster in your graveyard. Send that card on the field to the graveyard, and special summon the other one to your opponent's side in defense. This effect, absolutely phenomenal. You can out so many things. This deck used to kind of struggle to out Chaos Angel, things like Utopic Draco Future. Like there's so many just like random like hard to out monsters that you can just easily just like get rid of because of this, which is like so appreciated. It's such a nice effect to have, and it resets the Vados for fusion plays and stuff like that. But like you can also do some like dumb stuff. You can put like you can send something to grave, summon King to their field, and then Eternity take back control of it, summon something like there's like a couple of cool things you can do if you're creative. But it's just like really like it's a really nice on-field effect. Like on top of like getting the field spell, which is half of the combo, it has some nice recurrence. There's also like if your opponent nibs you, you can choose not to activate the Vados effect, and then you can send the nib away, and then summon Vados to their field again. So it can get you, so it can reset you up a little bit. You know, like you gotta have some extenders at that point too. But if something does happen, it can reset you up. Like, there's a lot of cool things about this, and it sends like spells, traps. If they have like a floodgate, then you can just send it away. It's a very good card, very very good card. When called by, we try to stop hand traps that hurt. 3 Awakening of Vados. This card, unfortunately, is unsearchable, but but it is a 1-card combo. So you place opposite him, face up on either player's field, and then on resolution, if your opponent has a card in their field zone, you can add a 5 or higher Dark Pyro. So you activate this in the draw phase because it's a quick play. You activate this, you put opposite him on your opponent's field, and then you add Vados. Plays around draw. It locks you into Pyros from the deck and extra deck, but you know it is what it is. Like Extinguishing also locks you. That's what's cool about these new cards, that they don't lock you, because you want to try not to be locked as much as possible for some other plays. But we do have an extraordinary Pyro lineup that we try to we have as many Pyros as we can that are good. So there are some other ways around. And yeah, this card gets you both cards. Unfortunately, you just have to hard draw it. You just have to see it. There's no way to search it. There's no way to do anything. It's just yeah, you just got to see it. But it's very good, of course. And what's cool about it being a quick play is if you don't see it and on the end phase you draw off opposite them and you do see it, you can just activate it during the end phase, and you have a backup Vados, and you have a field spell in your opponent's field. Like it's really cool. It's neat, and obviously you're gonna have a field spell because you drew it, because you put the field spell back to draw one. So it's very neat because of that. If you see 2 in your hand, you can set one for your opponent's turn, and if they activate a field spell, most field spells have an effect on activation nowadays. So you can chain this and then place over it, and it'll just be like, it'll fizzle out, like it's not there. So there's a couple of cool applications. I really like this card. It's great. It's full combo or it's full backup combo. It's really cool. I wish it was searchable. And we have 1 Rekindling the Ashened. There's a lot of dumb things in Master Duel. Never know what you're gonna run into. You gotta have one of these ready. So you place an Ashened that's in an Ashened card that's banished or in the graveyard. You bottom deck it, target a monster your opponent controls, and then negate it until the end turn. That's it. Simple, easy, not much to go over. It's just a negate. Sometimes you just get Barrier Statue or whatever. You activate Extinguishing, you normal summon Priestess. You send the Extinguishing back, you negate it, and you try and play. Simple stuff. 3 Impulse. Impulse is a phenomenal card. Your opponent controls a card, you can just negate a special summon. Turn 0, you can negate Nibiru because you give your opponent Vados. So that's always nice. You're not gonna have a trap engrave turn 0, but you're not getting nibs, so they get to keep it or whatever. It's never gonna come up again, and you know they have it, so yeah, that's cool. And obviously, as just a regular hand trap, it's just really good. You just negate anything that just special summons. You can negate Millennium Unk. You can negate Ice Ryzeo. Like, there's just so many like random things you can just negate. You can negate Malices that are banished, trying to come back. Phenomenal card. Ashened for Eternity. On activation, you add back a Vados or any Ashen monster from grave to hand, non-target. So it adds on resolution. And as an ignition effect when it's face up, if your opponent controls a monster that you own, target it, take back control. All monsters your opponent currently controls lose attack equal to its attack. There's some like cool applications, like if your opponent like Tactics takes your fusion because it's 45 and now you have a wide open field, you can just take it right back. If your opponent activates a Charmer and they summon like, if they summon like Dark and they summon Vados, if they summon Hida and they summon your Ash, you can take back control, which is really cool because now it's just like, now they're just like stuck at this Link 2 with no like bridge. So they either have to pull more resources into it to keep it going, which is really neat. Like I said, off the Inferno, like the main thing is that you're taking back Vados, and then all their monsters lose 28, and then you can just like go for game attack. But this card's very handy. Adding back Priestess on the follow up, or if you hard open Endlessness or Eternity, you can add back Vados to dodge Called by the Grave. And Vados, like in the field spell matchups, like I said, it's another hand trap. So it's basically another copy of Vados. Once you add it back, that's really cool. And it adds back. It doesn't target when it adds back. So if they just like start their turn, Heartbeat's Feather Duster, you can go Chainlink 1 Eternity, Chainlink 2 Endlessness. So you fusion summon and then you add back. So even if you have none in grave, it's gonna check on resolution. So that's really cool. Yeah. And it's obviously continuous trap, so you can send it for Dragon of Endless Darkness. And then lastly, we have Ashened to Endlessness. During the main phase, fusion summon a Pyro fusion monster. You can fusion summon a Pyro fusion monster, but it has to include Vados, and it gains 500 for every material used. So you summon out the fusion monster. He's 45 because of the boost. Can be targeted, can be destroyed, and you have this to send off of it as a pop. And this has a graveyard effect. You can banish this card and 1 Dark Pyro from your graveyard. All monsters your opponent currently controls become Pyro until the end of this turn. This is an extraordinarily effect in the right matchup, in the right circumstance, in the right case. It absolutely messes with Fiendsmith. Like, they summon Lurie, and you make it a Pyro. Now it's not a Light Fiend. Or they summon the Closed Heaven. They summon like any Light Pyro. They're locked out of it because you activate this. Now they're, any Light Fiend. You activate this. Now they're Light Pyros. That's done. If they normal summon Sage or Ether Barrel, whatever, you can send this, and then now that is not a dragon or spellcaster, that is a Pyro, so they can't go into the Link 1 for Blue Eyes. Malice requires randomly Cyberse monsters for some of the non-engine stuff, and then you do this, and now they're not Cyberse, now they're Pyros. So there's a lot of applications for it. You just have to be ready. Sometimes there's random extra deck monsters that need specific types that you just wouldn't expect, and then you go, damn, I could have hit this. Or sometimes they don't need specific types, and you hit this, and it means nothing. You just have to be ready. It's very tough. But well timed, it just like absolutely decimates some decks. Like it'll just end a turn. Like it's like at the right time. So that's why I play 2. Because you want another one because you want to fuse again eventually. But yeah, this is like extraordinary. Oh, and it's really good against Mitsurugi. So when they have like one of the dudes on the field and they're trying to ritual summon from the deck, all of them have to tribute reptiles. So if you send this, then they no longer have a reptile on the field. They have a Pyro, and if they don't have the right stuff in hand, it just fizzles out. So they don't get to tribute it, trigger its effects. They don't get to summon from the deck and bring stuff out. Very awesome card. Moving on to the extra deck, we have 1 Blaze Phoenix. This is just a machine and a Pyro. There's like Cristrons and stuff like that. There's machines out there. So Vados in a machine. You summon this. You can burn with it on your turn, or you can just destroy the field. Either way, he's just like he's a very situational card, but he does come up every now and then. And you can also like OTK your opponent off just burn damage. I've done it like twice before. You summon Emperor, he does burn. You summon this guy, he does burn. And you summon Promethean Princess, and then bring this back and do burn. I think they have to have like 11 cards or something on the field to burn twice off of this and then burn off of this for game. But yeah, it's possible. There's a lot of things that just put stuff on the board. So next we have Embers of the Ashened. On fusion summon, adds back a field spell, any field spell. I'd love to play chicken game and stuff like that in this deck again, but there's just too many main deck trolls. You just get chicken game, use your chicken game once, and then you just lose the troll. And at the start of the damage step, if this card battles a Pyro, destroy it automatically, and then you can make a second attack. This is good for the OTK, because you can attack over the Vados and then attack directly. So, I used to think it was really bad. I used to think, like, why would they give this effect? But then, like, after a couple of OTKs, it's just like yeah, I get it now. I understand. Next, we have Vados, the Dragon of Endless Darkness. It needs Vados specifically and 2+ level 9 or lower pyros. Can't be destroyed by card effects. Can't be targeted by monsters, by your opponent's monsters. And when it's fusion summoned, you can destroy all spells and traps your opponent controls. Not once per turn, but it'll never come up on the second time. But it is cool to note that it's not once per turn. When your opponent activates a card or effect on the field, send a face-up Ashened card for cost, destroy that card. Most of the time, you're going to be sending Ashened to Endless Darkness. You don't ever want to send the field spell. It just feels horrible. Sending a monster kind of sucks, because you want to try and keep a monster for next turn to try and figure out what you want to do with it, Link, XEs, whatever. So it's mostly going to be Endlessness, which feels kind of good. Sometimes it feels bad too, because it's like, damn, now I don't have like the fusion trap. Now I have to like wait a whole turn after I set it. Sometimes you want to send Eternity. It doesn't always come up, so it's fine. Sometimes you want to send Inferno, but like I said, they all feel bad to send. But like at least Endlessness has like another usage, so it's not like the worst. Next we have Inferno Flame Banshee. Detach 1. Add or Foolish a Pyro, which most times is going to be Emperor. Sometimes it's Vados. But yeah, they just work in well. They just work in tandem so well together. And if this card is banished while you control Pyro, you can special summon this again. It needs 100 times the number of banished monsters you have. So it comes back. It's like 19. It comes back. It's like 221, and it's like it gets a little intimidating later on. Sometimes you can have it like 23, 24. And it can be like a little threat, but it's never going to be like anything, absurdly insane. It is good to note though that the first time you bring it back, it's likely going to be 19, which will get over hand traps, which is like pretty useful. Next we have Garunix Eternity, and on XE summon destroys all monsters in the field. Bro thinks he's Vados. An ignition effect, you can detach 1, target a spell trap on the field, destroy it, and this gains 500. I have no idea why it gains 500, but it's really cool that it does. It becomes 35, which is quite big. And you also out one of your opponent's spell traps. It's any spell trap on the field, so you can actually destroy your own Obsidian, summon something off of it. And if this card is destroyed by anything while it has material, you can summon Fire Kings from your graveyard. No restrictions, only up to the number of materials this has. So this will likely have 1 material, and then when it's destroyed, because you're gonna try and pop a spell trap on a soft once per turn, and not hard once per turn, whatever. And when it's destroyed, it can summon itself back, which is really cool. So yeah, you can get in for some extra damage, or you can get some extra floating done. Whatever the case need, he does it. When Zeus, we have a couple of taking effects. We have Talons, we have Elements, take our opponent's detonators or whatnot, and attack with it, make Zeus. Zeus is a machine as well, so we can fuse it off for a Blaze Phoenix. You have to be careful though, because we play Impulse, so that does conflict with the Zeus, but Zeus is just too good to even cut. I have another build for the TCG, and I cut him. I tested it out, and then in 4 duels, there was twice where Zeus came up, and I was like, I gotta bring this guy back. Typhon's on the edge of being the most cuttable card in the entire extra deck. He comes up once in a blue moon. He usually doesn't do anything. Sometimes he'll come up and he'll actually do something, because you can play on your opponent's turn a little bit with this deck, quite a bit actually. But yeah, Typhon just doesn't do enough. He just locks you too much. That's the main thing. He just locks you too much. He's too restrictive. That's the only thing I don't really like about him, because he locks us. There are things that locks us, like if I Awakening of Vados, I can't summon Typhon. If I Typhon, I can't Vados. He just comes up every now and then. There's no this extra deck isn't exactly super tight for other cards, because we don't play any other engines or anything. So we can just have the Typhon just in case. But You know, it is Typhon. We have one Phoenix, just in case we need to out stuff, and he's also a fire. We have Hita and Dark, because they're both pretty good for Promethean. Obviously, Hita's better, but sometimes having the Dark is pretty nice too. Hita summons a fire from your opponent's graveyard. When it's destroyed, it adds a fire with 15 or less defense. 0 targets. Emperor is 24. Ash is 18. Dark, on the other hand, same thing but for Darks. And he can add basically everything. He can add Shaman, Priestess, and Vados. No King. But he can add some cool stuff. That's why we play Dark. One Little Knight. Little Knight's in the same realm of Phoenix. It's just good for outing stuff. Yeah, and it can be a little disruption too, which is neat, but... And he can dodge, or she can dodge Vados, which can, can happen sometimes, but it's, like, not really likely. Promethean Princess. We go into Promethean Princess probably, like, once in, like, 12 games. But when you do the Princess line, it's like your opponent's, like, past turn, because you've, like, disrupted them a bit. And then you brought back Emperor, some extra burn, maybe some damage, you attacked, clear their board a little bit. And you have Emperor and Banshee, and then you just go in, you just summon the Promethean Princess, the Ambler Whale. And now they have to deal with these like random pops from this. And they have the Emperor that's gonna come back another turn. And they're just in a sticky spot. And there's more random like non-engine stuff to deal with. That's not including if you have follow-up with the Ashened that you can build upon with this. It's just very like it doesn't always come up, but when it does come up, like it's like if the game's like up in the air and it's like you're both kind of going back and forth, like this engine is just like this random little push will just like bring it all home, and yeah, like they just can't do anything. Ambler Whale, like I said, he's part of the engine. He pops. He brings back a Link 3 or lower, so you bring back Hita. You can pop stuff when they get destroyed, and he is a machine, most importantly. So you can summon your Blaze Phoenix during your turn, and do some burn. And yeah, there's not much to really say about Ambler Whale past that. You know, it's pretty simple. You gains 200. I never like remember this guy being like 26 is actually kind of low for like a Link 4, but like him like gaining 200 because like he always comes out and he's like 3,000 or so. So like I never really noticed that, but yeah, that's gonna be it for this. Notably, we're not playing Hero or Spear. They're just too bricky. You go first, you see these guys, they don't really do much. There's just not enough reason to play them. They don't add anything to your end board. They just don't do enough. Like they both have good effects. They both have very good effects. Hero pops during the main phase of Pyro on a quick effect, and if it's Vados that he popped, you can place an Obsidian face up on your field. Really cool. That's like a great backup play. If you can't fuse on your opponent's turn, you can still pop the board. So that's like kind of cool. Like sometimes I'm like, damn, I wish I had that right now. But like the 1 in like 30 games that he would come up doesn't equate to like the like 10 and 30 games that he's gonna like brick you. Maybe not 10 and 30, but you know what I mean. Like he just requires you to have too much going on. And Spearhead's a little bit better, surprisingly enough, even though his effect is worse. If your opponent controls a monster with 28 or more, tribute this. Target a card your opponent controls, return it to the hand. He can out some cool stuff. He can out like Detonator and stuff like that. He can just out like any boss monster. It's 28 or more. But he has to tribute. If you don't see Obsidian, you have to normal summon him. Like there's a lot of like bad aspects to him. Going first, that does absolutely nothing. So going first, like you would just summon him off of like King or something and overlay with him. Like he's not like he's not really like doing anything. He's just like a 4, or sometimes he's just a 4. Sometimes he's just a name. Sometimes he's just a pyro. But he's never gonna like come up. What sucks is that these two are kind of bad, but they're also like the bigger Ashen monsters. Like Hero's like the biggest monster you could possibly summon in Ashen. That's not like a fusion or anything. And summoning to your field. So it sucks that we can't use him. Just because he's kind of bad. And 17 on a normal summon is like not the worst, but he's just not that good. Like it's so bad. It's so unfortunate that these two they have the better of stats, and they're just not. There's not anything. So that always sucks. But everything else is pretty solid. Solid enough to play. Rekindling's okay. It just comes up in certain. It comes up sometimes, and even if it doesn't come up, it's just a good card. So like the only issue with the Rekindling is that there's not enough ways to search it. There's only Priestess, and Priestess is too busy grabbing other things to even worry about it. So, like sometimes you're forced to just search it, so you gotta have it. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it for this Master Duel deck profile of Ashened. There's a lot of cool new things you can do with these new cards, and a lot of new theory crafting. It's really fun. There's a lot less locks now, so you can go through your combo and then potentially just bridge off into like Promethean or another combo if you want to try. You can bridge off into like Fiendsmith or something a lot easier since you're not locked as much. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys come up with if you guys are playing these new cards, because if you already have the Ashen deck, like it's not that expensive. You need like 2, maybe 3 chaotic elements if you choose to play 3, which isn't like the most insane thing. I like to keep it at a 2-in-2 ratio because the second extinguishing does come up sometimes, and if you play just 1 element, you're never gonna see it. I think if you play 3 elements, I think you're gonna see it too much. And the thing I don't like about this card is that it really plays into draw, and like you just like, one of the cool parts about this deck is that it can play very low to the ground. Like you don't have to play into draw, or you can play into draw and it just like won't affect you that much, which is cool. So you know, you gotta be weary of that. That's one thing I don't like about elements. But it is still a phenomenal card. Even if you do get drilled, like you might still be able to play out of it because you have Obsidian or Inferno. It's neat. It's neat. The deck's got so many more options now. So yeah, that's gonna be it. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, let me know down in the comments if you made it this far and you really like the deck. And I really much would appreciate a like, comment, subscribe, and all that. And yeah, take care, guys.